we have to evolve with the trade and the technology, or we're gonna left behind. So, biggest challenge is by far the loneliness of business. I think it's just like you have so many questions, but you don't know who to ask.
Yeah.
And then you might ask someone and it's like, that went completely differently than I thought it would go. My leadership coach actually just asked me, why do you want to keep going? What keeps you going?
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I said, if it was me, I'd be fine just staying where I'm at. The one guy on their side looked at me and he goes, maybe someday you won't have to be an electrician anymore. And I just kind of looked at the camera and I was like, we're done. Because all I've ever wanted to be is an electrician, so.
What's going on, everybody? Kyle Powers here, Haven Real Estate Group at eXp Realty, here with another episode of Local Legends of the Flint Hills, where business meets community. I've got a special guest here with me, Joe Gisler with Geo Electric. Joe, I appreciate you joining me today, man. Yeah. Joe, let's kind of dive into it, man. So 2013, you decided to start your business with Geo Electric and kind of get into the groove with it all. Tell us about what that looked like for you and why you did it.
Yeah, so 2013 actually was a little bit of an outlier. So 2013 was when I established the business.
Okay.
But I was still just I was working for somebody locally, doing side work, kind of trying to build my business on the side, whether it was nights and weekends, just trying to build it up that way. And then once I felt like I had enough, which ended up being about January 1st of 2015, was when I made the jump to like on my own, where I wasn't working for anyone else. Stressful time. No looking back now, but definitely some things I wish I could change. But overall, it's been a good experience. It's been tough, but it's been great.
Yeah. So you started out with just yourself then as doing that, and then kind of what's that growth look like for you and your company?
Yeah, this is a question I get asked a lot. When did I hire my first person? So I was working like crazy. At first it started where I was getting like 30, 40 hours a week, and I was like, this isn't too bad. I can do this, And then I just kept getting more work. People that I was working for was growing, expanding. And if I wanted to stay working for them, I needed to expand. So about 11 months in, I actually called up a friend and I said, hey, you want to come work for me? And he said no, but I got a guy, and he was actually the first person I hired. He was an apprentice, great helper, worked for me for 3 years, ended up getting his license, and now he moved away to Kansas City and works for a factory there. But I think overall, from there, it kind of catapulted me because he was just good help, and I got lucky the first time because I know that that's not a normal thing.
Not an industry standard?
Yeah, no.
So as we've grown, right? So 2015, you kind of spent on your kind of launched initially, right? You go in that side of it. You've grown in size. You've grown in jobs that you take on. How have you been able to kind of keep that personal touch with your clients and with your with people there, with your business?
I think the biggest thing that I've tried to do overall is just keep working, try to keep people happy that I'm working for. I'm trying to deliver a good product, but also a good business, and that's not always easy. And something I tell people all the time that ask me, what can I do to start my own business? It's just keep working. I mean, I've done so many things wrong, but something I've never stopped doing is working. So I guess overall that'll prevail. I don't know, but the personal touch is just staying in touch with people, trying to be transparent. There was a time where it was hard for me to text people back if I couldn't get to their job. That was something that I had to struggle with, because I don't want to tell you I can't get to your job, but that's how I'm feeling. And it's also kind of a fear of I don't want them to go somewhere else. So that's always a little bit of a disconnect. So when I hear that on other people that are running a business, it's like, hey, that's part of it, and that's part of life. So it's kind of one of those things where I've gotten better at it, mostly because I have other people do it now. But that's the toughest part, is like telling people, hey, I can't be there today or tomorrow. So but still trying to stay in touch with them, I guess.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
You mean you can't keep everyone happy all the time?
No.
So, Joe, you offer up a lot of different services and things that come with that, ranging from residential to commercial. Why don't we expand a little bit about what you guys here at Geisler Electric, what you offer and what that looks like?
Sure. Not only residential, commercial, but service is also kind of another beast that a lot of people don't attempt and don't really look at. But in this area especially, it's become a huge part of our business. Kind of tapping into the Google market early on was something I got lucky with.
Sure.
I'm learning that right now as we branch out to Kansas City, where if you're kind of the big dog on Google, you're kind of running the mill. But service wise, always dealing with people is always going to be the most challenging thing. I think on top of that, keeping our employees informed and aware of every situation that we come across, letting them know the ins and outs, whether it's positive, negative, every single thing we go through, it better prepares them on talking to customers and I guess the whole outlook of the job, because customers and contractors, it's the hardest part.
Yeah.
But as far as the services go, we do it all. I mean, in a small market like Manhattan, you kind of have to be well versed. You have to do commercial, residential, service. So we've got guys now that kind of split up and do singular things in the company, but they all are pretty well versed on knowing how to do it all.
Yeah. No, I love that. So over time, right, you've been in it now for 11 years now. So over time, what has that evolved? What has your customer base evolved, like their needs and what that looks like? What has that customer base evolved like?
Yeah, I think as far as the evolution of business and trades in general, it's changed a lot since I first started. Now you go to a service call and people almost want a menu, versus back in the day, you used to just go out to their house, fix a problem, send them a bill in the mail and get a check. Now it's, hey, here's what your list of items are that you might want. And if you want it, good. If not, good. See you later. Good. Yeah. I think the customer side of things, we have to be way more transparent in showing a lot more up front, which is fine, but it's harder for us because we have to kind of prepare for the worst.
Right.
And so you're going to get the prepare for the worst price if we have to give it to you up front. So that's something that I think a lot of people don't understand when they're seeing this. Sure. Is it's actually probably a better deal for you to just have us send you a bill. And I don't mind saying that because a lot of companies won't. Yeah.
No, and that's part of it. I mean, again, it's the information age, right? I mean, you mentioned Google already. So, I mean, being out there, you can Google how much does a 6-inch wafer light cost, and now they're dissecting everything. So, all right. So with some of that stuff, I know you guys do a lot of range of that, right? The security and the automation and stuff there. And I kind of want you to talk a little bit about what that part of the business is as well, because I think that's been a good piece for you, right?
Yeah, so when I first started, we got kind of into custom homes a little bit, and I saw a market for automation security because we were already there doing the electrical. We were working hand in hand with these other guys, the low volt guys, doing the security automation, and I was like, hey, I think there's a market for this. It's a totally different market, but it's been a journey for sure, like any business would be, but I think overall it's just added service to what we do, and it's a little bit more of a headache than electrical, but I think it's just something that we can present people and say, hey, we do this too. And it allows builders to only have us there instead of another contact. So I think that's provided a pretty good service as well.
As stuff starts to advance, right? We've gone from the age of artificial intelligence and before all of that stuff where it was, like you said, show up, fix the problem, get out of here. What current trends and where do you see the electrical industry kind of headed, and what are you guys excited about here at Geisler Electric?
Well, electrical's changing, maybe more now than ever. We've got the introduction of wireless switches, which a lot of people don't know about. Wow. But we use those all the time, especially in remodel applications. You know, somebody's got a piece of wall they tore down over here, but they want to add a switch over there. Well, now we can put this wireless switch in, and it's RF, so It's very easy. We don't have to run a wire. We don't have the labor of getting in an attic or a crawl space, and it's just done. It's cheaper, and we make a little bit better margins, to be honest with you. So, the introduction to that has been game changing, but then also lighting is changing right now, where in the near future, it's probably not going to be 120 volts, and it's all going to be smart control. And so we have to evolve with the trade and the technology, or we're going to left behind. So
yeah, no, and I think that's one of the things, like we talked off camera, where being able to evolve and continue to stay in front of that stuff is important. So I guess I'm going to kind of take it to this direction too, is like, what are you guys doing here at Geisler Electric that is allowing you to stay ahead of that curve and be ready for that when that change does happen?
I think the biggest thing is just staying maybe not so relevant, but like just staying on social media and seeing what's out there, seeing the trends. We go to shows. I go to at least 2-3 shows a year to kind of see what's new or coming out. Obviously, I got some younger guys that work for me, apprentices, and they're bringing stuff to us. Something that we do every morning is kind of part of our training is we'll have a meeting in the morning, not necessarily a meeting, but we'll sit around and people will share a video that they saw if it's something new that came out, or hey, look at how this guy did this wrong, or even us, we point out things that we did wrong and we can do differently next time. So it's just kind of growing and knowing that maybe what we did wasn't right, or seeing something that could be done better and just progressing. And so
no, I love it. I mean, having that progressive mindset, it's important in any business. So I love that. At Geisler Electric, one of the big things that you guys love doing or consider to be top of mind is customer satisfaction, right? Staying ahead of the trends, like you just said, being ahead of the training. How do you ensure that you, your guys, and anybody else that works for you is able to give that best customer satisfaction?
Yeah, I think kind of like I mentioned there in that last segment, when you're presented with customers that could be difficult, just talking about that and saying, hey, here's how I went through it. And then talking to 4, 5, 6 other people about it, you can develop kind of a better plan as you move forward of, hey, I said this, maybe I shouldn't have. Or, hey, I said this and it went really well. So we know to kind of use that type of frame of conversation moving forward. I think it's really just talking to each other and showing everybody what each other's done is kind of how we move forward and get through some of maybe the more difficult customers. And that's something I want to touch on also. In business, a lot of times people will say, oh, those hard customers are the worst and there's so many of them. I don't think there's a lot of them. I just think they're loud. And so they're louder than the other. I always say the 10% are louder than the 90%. But
no, I mean, that's the truth though. I mean, you run into that stuff often. So talking through training and continuing that side of it, I mean, keeping ahead of all of that stuff, are you sending your guys outside of just your morning meetings and stuff that way? How are you continuing with education for them?
Yeah, right now we're not. We do have like a little wall that we've built that we put the apprentices through training and whatnot if they need kind of to pick up more or less the basics or fundamentals. That way they can at least go in and have an idea of how things work and whatnot. We set it up to where they can plug it in and see it working and then have small troubleshooting things pop up. But one thing that I'm really going to work hard on next year and the next year probably is a apprenticeship program where it's something that we can actually do in-house, that they don't have to go to a school or look up something online. But there's a lot to it, obviously, because there's so much involved with electrical, but it's something that I'm just going to nail down and try to keep in-house for my guys.
Sure. Love it. So what's the future look like for Geisler Electric? So you've been in this for 11 years. What does today and beyond look like?
Funny you mentioned that. My leadership coach actually just asked me, why do you want to keep going? What keeps you going? And I looked at him and I said, if it was me, I'd be fine just staying where I'm at. But I've got guys in this company that want to grow. They want to be at a better or higher position. They want to maybe lead people or develop another area with another branch. And so I feel like it's my obligation to help them with that, because I like helping people, and I like helping these people that I care about that work for me.
Sure.
So if I can develop them and help them, I feel like it's kind of what I was almost meant to do now.
Yeah.
It feels weird saying that, because the one thing I love doing is electrical work, but I haven't gotten to do it as much anymore. And actually, to touch on that a little bit, I'll just tell a little story. I had an opportunity to it was a $10,000 contract. And what they wanted was some videos from my social media page, Electrician Joe, to promote this other business. And we were still on negotiations back and forth a little bit. And we were sitting with a meeting. It was me, my manager, and then a couple of their higher ups. And the one guy on their side looked at me and he goes, maybe someday you won't have to be an electrician anymore. And I just kind of looked at the camera and I was like, we're done. Because all I've ever wanted to be is an electrician. So that was a huge insult to me that, these people are trying to hire me to help them, and then just to throw that back in my face. I didn't like it. So, but anyway. No, I digress.
No, that's perfect though. I mean, that speaks to who you are though. So I think that's important to have that aspect of it all, right? I think having that clarity on it all is important. I mean, that's why you do what you do. That's why we're standing in your shop here, right? So, all right. So I've got a couple questions before we kind of wrap this all up. And this is probably one of my favorite segments of these interviews. I want to know your biggest challenge that you've faced as an entrepreneur, and then one of your biggest rewards. But let's start with challenge first.
Biggest challenge is by far the loneliness of business. I think it's just like you have so many questions, but you don't know who to ask. Yeah. And then you might ask someone and it's like, that went completely differently than I thought it would go. And so it's kind of more of figuring out in way more time than it takes to just talk to more people and get as much information as you can from people that have already done it, because they've already lived it. And I think that's kind of interesting being a parent, because, I've got other guys that work for me that are parenting smaller kids now. And I'm like, hey, watch out for this. And it's just funny looking back where you can really dive in and get a lot of information from people that have been there. So, but the loneliness is tough. Yeah. The late nights and weekends and the stuff nobody sees, but also it feels good when the ball's rolling in the right direction finally. So
I get that. Totally get that. So on the flip side of that, what has been one of the most rewarding things that you've been able to do as an entrepreneur and as a business owner?
I think the most rewarding thing is kind of where I'm at right now, where I'm helping develop the guys that work for me. Sure. Putting people in good positions. It's very rewarding to feel and see everybody just kind of grow and be at a place where they feel like they can grow. So that's been exponential here recently for sure.
That's awesome. Awesome. Okay, final question. Well, almost. Anybody watching this, so we get a lot of people that watch this just for local area as well, but mainly entrepreneurs, people looking to get into it. So what advice would you like to give any of our viewers on entrepreneurship, trying to be an electrician, whatever that looks like, right? What advice would you like to give them?
It's similar to kind of what we touched on, where, just keep working, keep grinding, keep digging, keep track of things, hire professionals to do what you're not supposed to do. I hired an accountant first, right when I started off. And one thing he told me was, you don't have time to learn to be an accountant. He's like, you go be an electrician, and I guarantee you that time that you spend wiring, you can pay me. So I think that's important. So hiring the right professionals, talking to as many people as possible that have been through the process, people that have even failed, because a lot of times people that have failed are open and willing to talk to you. Most people that are successful have also failed. So, just kind of getting as much information as you possibly can.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. So anybody watching this video today, how do they get a hold of you guys? Let's say the residential, commercial, automation, whatever that looks like, how do they reach out to you? And if you want to give your social handles as well.
Sure. So you can either Google us and find us that way, or you can reach out to us by phone, email, text, anything. Like I said, it's all out on Google. And then also I've got my other social media pages, which are Electrician Joe. That's me personally. That actually helped me through kind of a darker times when it was a little bit rougher time in the business, and it helped me kind of push through that a little bit during COVID and whatnot. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Before we wrap it up, anything else you want to add?
I don't think so.
Okay. Cool.
You got anything else?
No, I think that's it. So
That fly loves you.
he's all over me, man. He's all over me. Well, Joe, I appreciate you jumping on with me here today, man. And thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you do enjoy the content that you've got here today, and if you enjoyed kind of this stuff, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit that little bell so you get notified of any future videos. And go ahead and share this. And please, again, if you have anybody that's looking for electrical work or looking to just talk to an entrepreneur who's been through it all, right? Have them reach out. Share this video with them, have them reach out, have them get a hold of Joe, have them get a hold of Geisler Electric, and just kind of stop in and say hi to these guys and show, because you will not be disappointed with the level of professionalism that you're met with and everything with that one. So again, Joe, I appreciate you jumping on here with me today, and thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we'll see you then. Peace.